Councillor Cameron Caldwell, and it's one of those sort of landmark guest appearances because he's got a lot to talk about. And Cameron actually is a solicitor of the Supreme Court of Queensland. He's practiced law now for 10 years, married with 3 kids, and has resided on this great Gold Coast for all of that period. He was elected to his first term in council at the last council election representing Division 3, which embodies all of our area here, and was subsequently appointed chair of the City Planning Committee, and that's a pretty significant role. It determines where projects are going, where infrastructure is going. It's very, very important. He's charged with the design and implementation of the new planning scheme over the coming 2 years, and his personal goal is to reduce the number of planning appeals by half in the first year of the new council, to restore confidence in the development arm of the economy of this region, and to ease the cost of living pressures on all families on the Gold Coast. So he's got some very practical goals, and we look forward to hearing from you, Cameron. It's all yours. Tell us the story.
Thanks, Sam, and firstly, thanks for the opportunity to come along this morning. One of the things that I find extremely beneficial in my new role is actually getting out and speaking to people in person. It's one thing to hear about it on the news or read about it in the paper, but I always like to make sure that you get an opportunity to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. So this morning, just wanted to cover off 2 parts. The first thing I thought I'd do is just run you through the new transport strategy that we've been working on and have officially launched. And then I'll talk you through some of the local council issues, and then I'll happy to take any questions on the way through if you like, but mainly at the end. So the transport strategy, the reason I'm happy to talk about this is because it falls within my chairman role. Okay, so I look after planning, environment and transport, and one of the things I guess that's important for us as a city is that the way we get around and the way we live, it's so important that we can drive around comfortably, that there's good access to public transport and all those sorts of things, because that's what's important about making the Gold Coast a livable city. So I'm just going to run you through, I'll just point out there, we're going to test out the clicker here. There's the new Gold Coast City branding.
Where's the red dot?
There's the red dot there. Right. So all that fuss over that small dot. Okay, so just going to run through the key elements of the transport strategy, some of the consultation results, and what we're going to do moving forward to implement it. So there was a fair bit of consultation actually happened with the transport strategy. So we went out to the public between October and November last year. We then were able to review what feedback came in. We've subsequently done a financial analysis in terms of the value of the work that's contained within the strategy and how deliverable it is. That information hasn't been made public, but my understanding on the briefings I've been given is that it's very achievable over certainly the 20-year period of the strategy and very affordable. So we've gone through council and now we're up to moving forward into the implementation process, which is basically what we've got sort of phased through there. So at the end of last year we had the draft transport strategy came before council, and then now we've released it. So there's been an international cycling congress on the Gold Coast over the last 3 days, and on 2 nights ago the Mayor launched the transport strategy officially at that function. So key elements of the strategy. Covers off on basically all of the different facets of transport. Okay, so first thing, expanding the light rail network. So, like it, love it, hate it, we've got 13 kilometres worth of light rail. The transport strategy says that we're going to build on that. We also will complement that with rapid bus network. By the middle of this year, we will have a citywide parking plan. We're also going to develop a cycle plan and pedestrian plan, local area transport strategies. This is a really interesting one actually, the consolidation of the state TMR and Gold Coast City Council traffic management centres. So in Brisbane they have what's called the Brisbane Metropolitan Traffic Centre. So if you hear the traffic reports on radio, that's what comes through. On the Gold Coast we have 2 separate controllers. So they all use the same systems, but they sit in different rooms. So we were using an example of the Paradise Point Progress Association last night, where you drive along Oxley Drive and you turn off and you're suddenly onto you go from a state-controlled road onto a locally controlled road. What happens is you don't get the signals in sync and all that sort of stuff. You end up with maintenance issues varying between state and local controlled roads. So we can bring that together. That's actually a really simple step. It's the sort of thing that's a really quick and easy hit in terms of making road use much more effective. There's also an intra-regional transport corridor, which is a corridor that runs parallel to the M1. The land's already been acquired, basically set aside. That's again a longer term plan. These are the key priorities for the next few years. So we've got, as I was just talking about, synchronisation of the traffic lights, reorganising the bus network. So once the light rail comes on in the 13 kilometre section, we'll free up a whole heap of bus miles that we can then redistribute. So importantly, because we're a linear city, as everyone keeps telling me, we will be running basically vertical corridors and then running ladders across, if you like. So east-west connections will be very important in the years to come. We've also proposed that there be a light rail connection to the heavy rail at Parkwood. There's space there for what we propose to be about a 6,000 car park and ride station, which will be intended for use as part of the Commonwealth Games transport strategy. But because we've proposed this as a permanent solution as opposed to a temporary train station that was in the original bid book, this will be a legacy item for years to come. We've just approved a turn left on red trial at 3 intersections. None of them are up the north end of the Gold Coast, but if you're down south, keep an eye out for that trial, it's quite interesting. Upgrades on local roads, as I said, parking strategy, and those other plans. Now the bottom one there, interesting proposal that the Mayor put forward as part of his election campaign was that there be free off-peak travel for seniors. Now at the moment we're going through the process of costing that and working out how it can be delivered, because the go-card system is not set up for that. But if we can deliver it, that's the sort of thing that will make a real difference to travel for an ageing population. So, as I said, we went out to the public, we talked to them about the transport strategy. I spent myself about probably 12 hours on face-to-face communication over about 4 or 5 locations, in fact 6, because we also had a little pop-up at the last Hope Island Community Association meeting. So there was a fair bit of consultation went on, and we very much got out and spoke to the people to see what was important. That's sort of a summary of what we did, which is a lot. Websites, etc. And did anyone go out and speak to anyone in relation to the transport strategy or fill out a form? Okay. We did put advertising, for example, in the Gold Coast Sun to make sure that we could get as many people involved as possible. We got a fairly good sample size. There's a bit more data there on the advertising reach. So this is the type of thing that we did for about 6 weeks. We had this, that one there, the painted up combi, not the hot tomato man, the council combi. We went out and we pulled up in places, that's Justin